what I want to talk about today is what I call dialectic connections. I want to talk about how ideas relate to each other and how that affects our writing in the Lost Tools. You know, I had a student once, we were talking about whether or not we were being underachievers or overachievers, and we were talking about achievement. And he said to me, "I'm not an underachiever, I aim for the middle." And my thought about that is if you aim, you don't always hit what you aim for. If you aim for the middle, you probably are going to be an underachiever. And so as students and as writers, I want you to think about what you're aiming for. And I want to explain some things for you to aim for. But I understand that you may not be able to do them right away. And I understand that these aren't at the middle. These are at the top of the food chain, so they're hard and they take a while. But I just want to present these ideas to you and have you think about them and ponder them on the journey of becoming a good writer. So, the first thing I want to talk about, and I see this in your writings, and I understand that this is part of the journey. You're on a journey as a writer, and you're growing and progressing. And so this is something I see as part of the journey. This is what I call a parallel proof problem. So let's look at how these ideas are related. Here we have our thesis. The year-long thesis that we all are so in love with. Edmund should not have followed the White Witch. And so I did my Annie chart and I chose my three main proofs. And here's what I chose to support that. Edmund should not have followed the White Witch because he should have known she was evil. Edmund should not have followed the White Witch because she was a stranger. Edmund should not have followed the White Witch because he should have stayed with his own family. These all meet the basic logic requirements, and you can write an essay with these subpoints. They make sense, they're coherent. But one of these ideas is not as good. It's not completely parallel with some of the other ideas. And one way we can figure that out, we've talked about this before, is just doing the grammar, okay? But another way we can figure it out is just the weight of the idea. So when I look at, he should have known she was evil, what kind of ideas do I come up with to go underneath this? He should have known she was evil, my subproofs, you know. I'm going to say, like, because Lucy warned him. He should have known she was evil because her name was Witch. That would be a hot tip. He should have known she was evil because she tried to bribe him with candy. Okay? Stranger danger, don't take candy from strangers thing. So the whole candy thing. Okay? Are those important and interesting? Yeah, they pretty much are. So this as a main proof has kind of a weight. Let's say it weighs 25 pounds, okay? This is a 25-pound weight proof. Next we have, Edmund should not have followed the White Witch because she was a stranger. What kind of subproofs can I come up with that are related to this? Well, what comes to mind was she didn't know him. Oh wait, he didn't know her. It was their first meeting. What else? She was a stranger. He didn't know her. It was the first time they had ever met. And he didn't even know anyone who did know her. So they had no people in common. Okay, have I said anything important in this section right here? It is true. Edmund should not have followed the White Witch because she was a stranger. He didn't know her. Well, that's kind of what a stranger is. It was the first time they'd met. Yes, that's kind of what a stranger is. They didn't have any people in common. Yes, that is kind of what a stranger is. Have I said anything very interesting or important here? I really haven't. And so the way I think of that is, this is a 5-pound weight. This proof only weighs about 5 pounds. Then we go on to, he should have stayed with his family. Okay? That's going to be a 25-pounder. Okay? We're going to be able to come up with some interesting and important things to say because we can talk about family, and there's just a lot of ideas in the book we could generate from that. So weight is one way you can see that we have a parallel proof problem. These ideas are too shallow. So now I want to show you grammatically how you can figure out the same thing using grammar to see the weight. So this is subject, right? Action verb. Should have known is future perfect tense, I believe. But that doesn't change the fact that knowing is an active verb. Okay? So we have a subject and active verb. Here we have she was a stranger. So we have a subject, we have a linking verb, and then we have a predicate nominative. And then here we have he should have stayed with his family. So again we have subject, and then we have another action verb. Okay? So these aren't expressed with parallel grammar, and they also don't have parallel weight. And so I just thought it would help you if you could sort of make that connection. You can use the grammar and just believe me, but part of being a classically educated student and part of the dialectic process is understanding why different ideas are related to each other the way they are. And so sometimes I think this whole weight concept can be helpful. Okay, so what we need is another 25-pound proof, something that has equal weight. We want parallel weights. So what if we said, Edmund should not have followed the White Witch because he was acting in secret. Right? Remember how he was being devious and he had to lie? You could say he had to lie to do this. He had to betray his siblings to do this. It wouldn't be hard to come up with some interesting and important subproofs for this. And that's one way we can tell that this is a 25-pound weight proof. But the other way we can tell that it will probably work before we even generate those ideas is we can figure out the grammar. He was acting. See, we've got subject and we have our action verb again. So these ideas, excuse my handwriting, are all parallel. Edmund should not have followed the White Witch. He should have known she was evil. He should have stayed with his family, and he was acting in secret. Those ideas have more depth, and it's easier to say something interesting and important about them, making it much easier to write your paper. So I just want you to see that grammar is your friend, and it can help you figure out the weight of ideas and how they are related to each other. Okay, that's what I wanted to say about that. Okay, the next problem, or part of the journey, or way to aim really high, even if you don't quite get it at first, issue that I see has to do with naming groups, which we know is really another way of saying naming proofs. Okay? So I want you to look at this proof that I've come up with for my paper. Edmund should not have followed the White Witch because she was a stranger, because Lucy had warned him, because he should have known she was evil, because he was scared of her at first, and because she bribed him with food. All these ideas do not have equal weight. Okay? So we have she was a stranger, Lucy had warned him, he should have known she was evil, he was scared of her at first, and she bribed him with food. One of these ideas is a bigger idea than the other ideas. It acts like an umbrella, and all the other ideas logically come under it. Is she was a stranger, whatever your umbrella big idea is, that's the name of your group or the name of your proof. Does she was a stranger meet that criteria? Well, Lucy had warned him that she was a stranger, so that fits under there, it works. He should have known she was evil. Are all strangers evil? No, they're not. So that doesn't really fit logically under she was a stranger. Which idea is bigger? He should have known she was evil, or she was a stranger. I think you can see that this idea is bigger. It acts more like a big, huge umbrella. See my nice umbrella here? And all the other ideas, we could check and see. Will all the other ideas fit better under this idea or this idea? So if we were going to switch this and say, oh, he should have known she was evil. And then so we moved that up here, so that's not here anymore. And we moved this down here, she was a stranger. Okay, do they fit? He should have known she was evil because Lucy told him. That fits. He should have known she was evil because he was scared of her at first. That fits. He should have known she was evil because she bribed him with food. And he should have known she was evil because she was a stranger. That's a little bit of a stretch. Stranger may or may not be evil, but you should certainly check it out, right? You should probably assume strangers are evil until you've had a chance to know otherwise, just for your own safety. So do you see now how this is the bigger, so this is the 25-pound weight idea, right? And these are all the 5-pound weight ideas. And they fit underneath this idea, okay? So this is another part of the dialectic process as you are learning how ideas are connected to each other. Kind of the main issue is which ideas are subordinate or come under which other ideas. So these ideas are subordinate to this idea. And when you do your Annie chart and then you sort your groups and then you name your groups, a very common problem is, okay, a common skill is that you can get everything kind of in the right group. But a common problem is the thing you pick to name the group isn't the big, heavy umbrella idea. And so that's something that you can be working on and aiming for in your ideas. Another way to say this is, like, I'm the teacher, okay? And I'm in charge of you. I give you assignments. And you're the student, and you're all equal to each other in that way, in terms of authority of the classroom. You're equal to each other, but you're subordinate to me. But let's say that your parents leave you in charge of schooling your younger siblings in the Lost Tools of Writing, okay? So you don't relate to me as the teacher the same way you relate to your younger siblings that you're trying to teach. Or you don't relate to your younger siblings that you're trying to teach in the same way that you relate to your other classmates, right? You are subordinate to me, and this younger sibling, if your parent has put you in that position and asked you to teach them, is subordinate to you. Ideas are the same way. So this idea is subordinate to this, and this idea is subordinate to this. And you can sort of tell by how much they weigh or how heavy they are. So that's just part of the journey of learning how to do this. And it's okay if you can't do it. For a lot of people, these two issues don't really come together until they're 16 years old. Okay? But I think it helps if you know what you're aiming for. And I really appreciate the way you guys aim for excellence in your writing, and so I thought you would really want to know this.